Can't see no one in the chat. Anyway, big up, guys. Big up yourselves for coming on. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I thought something was up there. Yeah, guys, big up yourselves for coming through each and every time. And as always, when you come through, guys, make sure you smash the like button on your way in. We got 3 likes at the moment. Obviously, smashing the like button helps the channel to grow. And again, keep your questions and comments coming in. And make sure if you're new in here as well, you sub to the channel, you share the channel as well. And give me your views, guys. Let me know what you think. Because obviously today we're going to discuss Carlos Baleba. You know, we're going to discuss a few of the other players as well. You know, obviously there's been some comments that I think come out, I believe, yesterday in regards to Manchester United still believing in Carlos Baleba, which, to be honest with you, is good to hear. You know, regardless if people think that Baleba shouldn't be the signing now, you know, because he's not had a great season. Again, I'm still gonna stick to my guns. I'm still gonna say that I want Baleba to come to be at Manchester United next season. Big up to Babs One Diva, big up to Fitz, big up to both of you each and every time. Big up to Brexy, new in the chat, says, hey man, what's good? I'm all good, man. Hope you're well too. Big up to yourself for coming on. And guys, as I said, make sure you smash the likes, make sure you sub to the channel, and make sure you share the channel as well. And give me your views and give me your comments as well. And as I said, I'll get through what I'm going to get through, and then I'll definitely get back to you guys, as I said, once I've finished discussing what I'm going to say. So, again, I'm going to go through some of the comment. Well, it's one comment that I've seen from yesterday in regards to you know, Ineos, Man United wanting Baleba, you know, to come to the club still. So I just wrote us a few things down. So Ineos have said that, or Man United have said that they're not concerned by his form, which I understand if people now want to start saying Baleba hasn't really shown too much, you know, this season. You know, there could be other reasons for that. You know, his head could be turned, which I believe it has. And for me, he hasn't been great, but I don't think we should now be turning our attentions elsewhere. You know, I think you can't really judge one season from a player as to say, you know, he's not really worth persevering with in a sense, you know. So I still do believe Baleba has got potential to grow. I mean, he's only 22 years of age. You know, he hasn't had a great season, judging by last season. But I still do believe Man United and Ineos, you know, they still do back the player, which is good news. And I still do think that, you know, he will come good next season if we do eventually go for him. And in actual fact, I actually do think we've sorted out a deal for him anyway. So I think he's the one signing that we've kind of got over the line. And there's other players that we have obviously been linked with, which I'll discuss in a bit. And I'll discuss to you why I think Baleba is the ideal signing as well. So they said they're not concerned by his form. His age is a key factor, which, again, I agree. 22 years of age, you know, probably a very, well, I'll say the perfect age, I would say, for a midfielder coming to a club that does need an injection of energy, I would say, in that part of the pitch, and youth as well. Obviously, Kobe's there, but having a Baleba there as well is crucial for me. And his age is a key factor, and belief that his quality will have a greater impact in their squad than at Brighton, you know. And again, for me, I tend to believe that. I tend to believe that, guys, because I know it's one of them things for me and for a lot of people that are a bit concerned with Baleba's form, and you guys have every right to as well. Big up to the chat as well for coming through. But for me, and as Fitz has just said, Baleba and Kobe could be a strong partnership for 8 to 9 years, and that is how I'm looking at it, Fitz. You know, because the reason why I think Baleba is a crucial signing is purely because of what he offers, you know. And again, I'm going to go through a couple of things that I've pointed out, you know, in terms of this season. And for me, the main thing, as I said to you with Baleba, I keep saying this, he's left-footed. We need to have balance in that midfield. For too long, if you look at Fred, when Fred went, the reason why Fred for me was someone that was easy to scapegoat for reasons that we know why. I'm not saying that Fred was a well beater by any means, but Fred, in comparison to what he offered, the fact that he was left-footed, the only left-footed central midfielder that we had, in recent years in the squad. And I think people need to realise that we need a balance in midfield. And the three players that we've been linked with, Carlos Baleba, Adam Wharton, and Angelo Stiller. And all three players, I do think all three players are very good players. The reason why I would pick Baleba ahead of Wharton at the moment and Stiller is, first and foremost, I look at what Baleba has in comparison, offers more in comparison to Wharton and Stiller. Now, the fact that he's energetic in midfield, he's left-footed as well. He is fairly press resistant, he's box to box. He's like an all-action midfielder. And I think in a squad where we have a lack of, I would say, energy and a lack of combativeness, I would say as well, someone like Baleba is crucial for that. Because me personally, I want to have more ball players in the midfield. But in a Baleba, I think Baleba's crucial in that sense for what he offers. Another player that I believe, that fits the mold of being an all-action midfielder and can play as well is Sandro Tonali. And Sandro Tonali is the one, I've always said this, if we can get a Baleba and a Tonali midfield to go with Kobe, and then we go and get a fourth choice midfielder, that is ideal for me. The reason why, as I said to you, I'm picking Baleba ahead of Tonali is purely because Baleba's left-footed and we need left-footed central midfielders. And what Baleba offers, he offers that combativeness, he offers the energy that I think, which is slightly better than an Adam Wharton. And obviously Angelo Stiller is a different type of player as well. So that's why I think Baleba is a crucial signing. And as I said, I think the Baleba signing is more or less already sorted out. And the fact that Ineos still see potential in Baleba is good news to me, is good news. And I think that's one signing I believe that we've got sorted out. I don't think Baleba goes anywhere. So I'm pretty confident and I'm calm on the Baleba one. So I'm going to park that to the side. Let me just go through the numbers as well, the key things that stand out for me. So I've noted down the possession, the long passes, the dribbles, the duels won, tackles, interception, blocks, and discipline as well. So I think they're all the key things that I believe that Baleba coming in, he's going to kind of cover all those avenues, because I'm not looking at Baleba as the pure ball playing midfielder. We've got Kobe there, and this is why I'm looking at the likes of Sandro Tonali, Adam Wharton, Elliot Anderson, because these guys, you would say, are all probably more ball players than what Baleba is. And again, I'm not mentioning Stiller because Stiller's a very, very talented footballer. But I think the fact that Stiller's left-footed, I think we need to target a Baleba, because Baleba, as I said, is a combative midfielder. So that's why I'm not really mentioning Stiller. I think Stiller only comes into contention, if we've done the business in the sense of getting Baleba in, whether it's a Tonali, Wharton, or a Anderson, and then if you could get another midfielder, because he's left-footed as well, then that might be something that might be looked at. But I think in terms of Stiller, for me, he's someone that is probably at the back of the list, not because he's not good enough, but because I think all the other players, whether you want to go Premier League proven as well, have all proven, for me, better acquisitions at the moment. I would look at Stiller as more of a luxury signing, in the sense that we need combative midfielder in Baleba first, and then you go for the ball player, whether you go for Wharton, Anderson, or Tonali. That's how I see it. So Baleba, possession, 522 passes with an 85% pass completion, which is good. And obviously, as we know, he'll be coming into a team that hopefully, and I think we are going to do this anyway, we're going to be playing more possession based in comparison to what we've been doing in the past under different managers. And the fact that he's coming from a possession based team in Brighton, it's a very good signing for me. Long passes, this is something that I'm not really looking at Baleba for, but he's got a 54% long pass completion from 39 passes, which again is over 50%. So it's not too bad, but that's not really what I believe Baleba is going to be brought in for. Dribbles, this is something that I noticed, yeah? And this is why this is key for me, yeah? And this is why I think if I'm looking at all the midfielders that are that have been linked with Man United, you look at Baleba, you look at Walton, Anderson, Tonali, and Stiller. I think in terms of breaking the lines from that position, dribbling, I would have to say that he's probably the best at that in terms of his pace, his power, And again, someone that's breaking the lines from dribbling, it opens up so much other space for other players, And he's had 16 dribbles at a completion of 56%, which is very good. So again, this is why I think something like that he can bring to the team, Whereas I think Adam Walton, for me, is a more different player in terms of dictating the tempo of a game. And to be fair, he is combative as well, Adam Walton. Elliot Anderson, again, he's someone that, can sit deep, dictate the tempo as well. And he's very combative as well. But in terms of the dribbling, with the pace and the power, I think Baleba probably might have that over him, if I'm honest. Tonali, for me, is if we can get Tonali, that would be a great signing. I've spoken about Tonali before. I do think Tonali, for me, fits the bill as he covers really everything. As I said, Tonali, for me, is one of the best midfielders in the league. One of the best midfielders in Europe. And I'm hoping we can at least go for a Tonali. But I just got a feeling Tonali probably, if he does leave Newcastle, Tonali, for me, either ends up at Man City, or a Barcelona or a Real Madrid. I can see his next path being that for me. I don't think he goes back to Italy. I think he needs to, aim higher for that. Aim higher for me on that basis. Jules 166. Again, him being combative, that's something that he's going to add to the team. 66 Jules 1 for me is good. And then you got 27 tackles, 22 interceptions, and 2 blocks, So Baleba's an all-action midfielder for me, and he covers a lot of the bases that I believe he'll be bringing to this team, And, we're hearing that the scouts, have been tracking Baleba for a while. And as I said, guys, I've spoken about Baleba for a little while myself. And, he's definitely someone that we do need to be investing in, regardless of what many might say. As I said, I do see the potential in Baleba, and I do think if Man United do get Baleba, I've got the patience and I've got the belief that he's going to become one of the top midfielders in the world. In a team which is a bit more, I would say, challenging for trophies or challenging for Champions League places. I think he will step up. I know people might say, well, he's not doing too well at Brighton at the moment. But I do believe, him coming to Man United, he will step up. I've got no doubt about that. And obviously, discipline, 5 yellow cards and 25 fouls, 5 yellow cards for a combative midfielder, I'd say is okay, Well, I think it's actually good. Because you'd probably expect him to be, high up, really, with what kind of way that he plays. And in the 25 fouls, again, is that a case where Brighton sometimes are chasing games and he's having to break up play or stop attacks? These things could matter. Because if he comes into a team, where they're dominating possession 9 times out of 10, or if we can try and go that way, maybe, the fouls might be less, But sometimes fouls are not always a bad thing because it depends If it's just needless fouls for the sake of it, then yeah, these are issues. But if it's clever fouls, like I don't mind that, personally. And as I said, I think the perfect combination for me, because Adam Wharton, I do rate Adam Wharton highly, but I just think Wharton is destined to go to I think he's destined to go to a Man City or even a Chelsea, Adam Wharton. I mean, if he wants to stay in London, then Chelsea's the ideal. If he wants to really go and more or less know that he's going to be challenging every season for the major trophies, it's Man City. But I think it's Man City or Chelsea for him. As much as I'd love him to come to Manchester United, I think he fits in, at Man City with ease. And at Chelsea, I believe if you look at Romeo Lavia, because Lavia obviously has been, it's a shame that Lavia really hasn't, had the career that many predicted because of the injuries. But I think if Chelsea are looking at someone that's a Lavia replacement and someone that can play alongside Moises Caicedo, and obviously you've got Andre Santos there as well, you've got Enzo Fernandez still there as well, then I think Adam Wharton is someone that they will be definitely interested in. But I think the Adam Wharton one for Chelsea, I think that's going to hinge on Champions League football, just like with Man United as well. Elliot Anderson, for me, he's got, I know people are saying Man City, and he might be advanced with Man City, but I just got a sneaky feeling that Liverpool might come in with some sort of a late bid, because I do think he fits into Liverpool perfectly. If you think of their midfield already, they've got Ryan Gravenberch, Dominic Szoboszlai, and they've got Alexis McAllister. Yeah, if you think of Endo, who was bought as a midfielder, he's out injured. That's all they've got in the central part of the pitch, yeah. And I think if they go and get an Anderson, I think that will definitely improve their midfield. So I think Liverpool is probably the destination for Anderson, but I don't know how far it is with Man City. As I said, Angelo Stiller, already mentioned him already. Angelo Stiller for me, is as I said, I don't think the Stiller one's gonna happen. But in actual fact, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen for quite a few reasons. As I said, the Stiller one only happens for me is if we get two midfielders already, which are probably going to be Premier League based, and then if you want to get a third midfielder, then he might come into the equation. But I think for what he has, we've kind of got that in a Kobbie Manu who's right-footed. We need a left-footed, combative, box to box kind of midfielder, and then we go and focus on the ball playing one in a sense. That's how I see it. And then obviously Sandro Tonali we've spoken about already, which if we're looking at one midfielder, for me he's the ideal type. But I think out of all the players, he's probably going to cost the most because, as we already know, Newcastle, for what they've quoted for players in the past, Tonali is going to be a similar one. So yeah, I just don't know about that one really. So, but guys, make sure we're smashing the likes. Make sure we're subbing to the channel. I'm going to go through a few of your comments as well. There Singh says, hi, how was your day? Yeah, all good, all good. Mate, Fred was average. Yeah, listen, what people that think Fred was average, yeah, I mean, I'll take Fred in this midfield right now. You can't be telling me Fred's average and we've had to deal with Ugarte. You know what I mean? Or we've had to deal with Bruno Fernandes playing central midfield. You can't tell me Fred's average based on that. Like, it's not true. And as I said, when I mentioned Fred, I've never once said that Fred is a world beater. I think people just want to misunderstand what I'm saying. Yeah, Fred was a player that was easily criticized for reasons that we know why. Yeah, because as I say, to think that we've got Ugarte and Ugarte is nowhere near Fred, you can't tell me Fred was average. But Fred was left-footed that added balance to the midfield, and this is why we need a left-footed central midfielder. And if you look at left-footed central midfielders that we've had in the past, it hasn't really been a lot. We've only had Matic, Anderson, and Fred as three left-footed central midfielders through the history of Manchester United that I can remember. Yeah, and obviously now we're being linked with one, Baleba. you know, and this is why, for me, he's a must signing. So, yeah. Big up to Mamba says, yeah, all good. Hope you lot are all good. Great channel. Yeah, big up, Mamba, man. Big up. Obviously, I know we don't see eye to eye a lot of the times for Man United and Arsenal. But listen, you have your opinion. It's what it's about, man. And we debate it out. But all I'm saying to you, man, is we are going to be here. You know, once your team fails. I'm telling you this now. So, yeah. But big up yourself, man, anyway. I want Baleba, Palmer if Bruno goes and Stiller. But again, that's not balanced though. Like that's just fantasy. Icon edits. That's fantasy. So you want Baleba and Palmer if Bruno goes and Stiller. So as I said, Palmer's just obvious. You know, that's obvious. That's an obvious signing. Do I believe we get Palmer now? We don't. You know, I think Palmer's something that could happen in the next couple of years. I do believe because not only is he gonna cost a lot of money, but he's on a long contract there as well. So Chelsea are not gonna want to give up, you know, along with Caicedo and Reece James, their best player, cheaply. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. As I said, the Stiller one, Stiller doesn't make sense it doesn't make sense for me really when you've got. Because I'm looking at Stiller as a pure baller, yeah, as a pure ball playing midfielder. And don't get me wrong, I do want that. Don't get me wrong, yeah. But I think we need to target a Baleba-like player, you know, before that. Because if you're thinking of Casemiro leaving at the end of the season, hopefully Ugarte gets moved on. We've only got one midfielder in Kobbie Mainoo. So again, we need someone with energy in that position. And that has quality as well. And I think that's the way we need to go first and foremost. Someone that is box to box, energy, young, fairly press resistant, you know, and has Premier League experience. And then after that, you know, this is when we can start targeting the ball players for me. You know, because as you guys know, man, you know, I'm very high on technique, and we need that. But I think Baleba is a must signing for so many reasons. But I think to say that to get Stiller as a number one choice, I don't agree. As I said, Stiller's for me is more of a luxury option if we get the other two midfielders sorted out. You know. I wonder if Morgan Rogers is going to Liverpool. No, he's not. He just signed a new contract as well. And again, if Villa get Champions League football or European football, then Rodgers doesn't really have a reason to leave because he's one of their best players. You know, he plays week in, week out. So there's no reason for Rodgers to be leaving, really. And again, as I said, he signed a new contract, so that's not going to happen. I reckon you guys are going to have a good summer transfer window. Yeah, listen, a lot of it depends on Champions League football, of course, because if we get Champions League football, you know, I'm looking at a minimum 2 midfielders, minimum. You know, three would be ideal, but a minimum 2, and then maybe we can, you know, look at the left wing position as well. But again, I've touched on the positions that we need to strengthen anyway, you know, on other streams. Big up to Foxy Danny. Big up yourself. Big up. I'm expecting 4 to 5 signings in the summer. Baleba and Tonali, as 2 of them, would be incredible business. With Kama rumours continuing, I'm holding hope for 3 central midfielders additions. Try and get Balde and a right back. Yeah, big up Fitz, man. The Balde one, I ain't gonna lie, yeah, is that's thrown me off because did I ever believe that we'll be in for Alejandro Balde? I didn't, but I don't think we're gonna get Balde anyway, because I mentioned this, was it yesterday or the day before? You know, I look at the only left back really of that kind of age that is, you know, I would take ahead of Balde is Nuno Mendes. And I don't believe Barcelona are going to let a La Masia, a graduate, someone that is their first choice left back, leave. I can't see that. As much as I would like Man United to go for Balde, and if we manage to get Alejandro Balde, like, we would well and truly be looking at this club as being back. But I can't see it happening, you know. But as I said, Baleba and a Tonali midfield would be mad. Imagine we have a Baleba, Tonali, Kobe Minu midfield, yeah? And then we promote a youngster from the academy, or we go and get another midfielder. That would be ideal, because as much as people want Anderson... Oh, sorry, guys. Baby. My bad. As much as people... what's happening there? Yeah, as much as people would want Walton and Anderson, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see that happening. So, yeah, it's unlikely to happen for me, really, you know. But yeah, Fitz, I hear it, man. Camavinga rumours continuing. I mean, I don't really want to speak too much on it because, you know, as I said to you before, Camavinga's been a long-term target that I'd love Man United to sign for years, you know, but getting him out of Real Madrid. I mean, if we could do, imagine this, yeah? Imagine if we Casemiro went and then we got Camavinga as the Casemiro replacement. I'll tell you this now, that would be what you call great business. That would be great business for me. But it's unlikely to happen, if we're honest. But let's see. Niche fan says, Baleba is the best out of all the options. Genetically perfect for football, left-footed. Big up to Niche fan. What I would say, yeah, I would when you say he's the best out of all the options, I'm gonna agree to a point, because I think he's the best in terms of what he could offer for what we need. Is he the best footballer out of all them? No, he's not. In terms of physicality, you would say him and Sandro Tonali, you know. So I wouldn't say he's the best footballer out of all them, but for what we need first and foremost, I think he's definitely someone that we need to be targeting. And as I said, I think it's already done anyway. And he's left-footed, as you mentioned. Yeah, I think this left-footed is going under the radar. You know, for so many reasons, man, we need to be getting Baleba, because, you know, we haven't got no left-footed central midfielders. You know what I mean? And if people think that's something that shouldn't matter, then go and have a look at a lot of the teams, yeah? You know, they've got left-footers somewhere in there. Even if you look at Nico O'Reilly, yeah, he's a midfielder by trade, yeah? Number 10 by trade, but plays left-back. Pep's obviously started to play him in midfield. He's left-footed. Bernardo Silva obviously plays central. He's left-footed, you know? Chelsea don't really have a left-footed central midfielder, really. I know Cole Palmer plays in there, but Real Madrid have got Camavinga, you know. Barca are trying to push through Mark Bernal, who's left-footed, you know. Left-footed in the midfield is crucial for me. Look at PSG, Fabian Ruiz, left-footed, you know, because it just adds balance to the midfield. And if you look at left-footed central midfielders, you know, there ain't really loads of them. There ain't loads. And again, I've touched on this before. So, yeah. But I definitely do think, man, he's definitely someone we need to be getting. You know what I mean? Big up to Foxy Danny with the super sticker. Big up. 20th super on this live stream. Yeah, big up to Foxy Danny. Big up. Appreciate you for supporting the channel, as always. And as I said, keep your support coming. And as I said, yeah, keep smashing the likes as well. So 3 centre mids, left wing, and a backup left back and a right back, ideally. But Balde would slightly change the plan, innit? Yeah, I hear it. And again, this is why I'm not really looking at Balde as a transfer, really, because I just don't see it happening. But Barcelona are not going to let him go, man. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Because if Barca let him go, yeah, I know they got that Gerard Martin there, but Gerard Martin's not better than Balde. And if they want to go and get another left back, let's say, if they let Balde go, what will be the point when you've paid no money for someone that is arguably that's arguably going to be one of the best in the world anyway? If he's not already that. So Mainu's going to be the heartbeat. Baleba will give him that base in which to dictate. Again, big up. Great comment, Niche fan, because this is where I see it as well. You know, I think having Baleba's legs in there, you know, and the way that he plays, you know, I think will help Kobbie Mainoo. But just like Sandro Tonali, I believe, will help Kobbie Mainoo as well. You know, there's loads of players that will help, you know, Kobbie Mainoo in that sense. But I want to see Kobbie play as a 10, if I'm honest. I want to see Kobbie, you know, being the fulcrum of the team, really, as a number 10 and seeing what he can do from there. Because there's no doubt in there that Kobbie has the ability to play as a 10. You know, imagine Kobbie getting into the tight spaces, you know, and using his technique, using his quality to either play a pass or get shots off. You know, and I'm hoping next season, because you guys already know where I stand on this anyway. You know, in the 10s, I want to see a Kobbie or an Ahmad, you know, because those two for me have the ability, you know, to take us in a new direction of how we want to play. You know, both players are very high on possession as well. And I'm just sick and tired of seeing this Route 1 football, you know, playing the balls into the channels. Like, a top team doesn't play like that, you know. And this is why, since Carrick's come in, Carrick is trying to deviate away from that sort of football. You know, thank God, because, you know, for a top team, there's no way any top team should be playing like that, you know. You don't see Barca play like that. You don't see PSG play like that. You don't see Bayern Munich play like that. Man City. These teams, you know, they all dominate possession. And this is the way we need to be going. And again, if you're going to get Kobbie or an Ahmad in a number 10 position, you know, you can't tell me that we're not going to see better football as a whole, you know. And again, people are not going to like that, but the reality is that's up to you, man. You know, the way that I see football, you know, we should be having the best quality players on the pitch, you know, as much as possible, or having players on there that can, you know, form a base to help that. That's how I see it. Bruno is going in the summer. Ahmad works perfectly in that position. Let's forget about Walton and Anderson. Again, you've said it, man. It's no different to what I've been saying. You know, I don't want to forget about Walton and Anderson, to be honest, but I don't think we're going to get Walton and Anderson. You know, I just don't think it happens. And I'm cool with that because, you know, for what's out there, you know, I think it's definitely something that we need to be working on. Baleba. I mean, if we could get Tonali, man, because the way that I look at Tonali, yeah, if we could get Tonali, you're more or less going to get Walton and Anderson in Tonali. That's how I'm seeing it, because Tonali is very combative, very competitive. You know, he puts tackles in. You know, he's aggressive, and he can play as well, and he can get a goal, and he's got long range shooting. So you're more or less getting Tonali in one. You're more or less getting Walton and Anderson in one Tonali, in a sense. And this is why I want Tonali and the Baleba midfield. But whether that happens, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a long shot, but let's wait and see. But yeah, as I said, hopefully Bruno does go, because I'm just not of the opinion, because I've actually seen, yeah, quite a few people now backtracking on the Bruno. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. It's like, with me, man, when I have my opinion, yeah, I always stick to my opinion, and, you know, I don't backtrack on anything that I've said previously, because if I'm going to tell you that I believe Bruno needs to be moved on, you know, just because he's playing slightly better under Carrick, that don't mean that I have to start changing my opinion, because, you know, yeah, he's playing slightly better under Carrick. I don't think he's playing amazing, but he has been better. But we've got a player there that's on 300 grand a week. He's going to be turning 32 next season. And we've got players, you know, that hopefully will be the future of the team, that can do a similar job or play in the same position to what Bruno's doing. Yeah? So just move him on, free up the money, and go and improve that midfield. Imagine if we got rid of Bruno, yeah, and we brought in Sandro Tonali, an actual central midfielder, someone that's going to help improve the team, and then you've got other players that can go and play in that position where Bruno's been playing. you know. And people that think that we can't do without Bruno's numbers, again, understanding football goes half the way to actually realizing that, because Bruno's numbers can be replaced. You know what I mean? When you've got the likes of Ahmad, Cunha, Xerxes, Sesko, Embuemo, these guys will all help, you know, to fill the void left if you're worried about Bruno's numbers. That's just how it works, you know. Would you rather have about 5 or 6 players that are getting, you know, between them, you know, 50 to 60 goals, let's say, you know, or would you rather have one player that's just hogging the stats, you know, whether he might get, I don't know, 25 GA, let's say, or 30 GA, but we win nothing. You know, these are the things that people need to understand. I'd much rather have five or six players all chipping in than having one player, you know, just hogging up everything, because the team for so long has been built around that player, which, as you guys have seen, has been to no avail. That's the truth. That is the truth. I want Ahmad in the 10, Minu in the 8. Yeah, Niche fan, I've been saying that for how long now? I agree with you, man. That's what I want to see. You know, I would love to see Carrick next season, if he's here, or a new manager, just look at Ahmad and say, look, we're going to play him in the 10. We need him on the ball. Because when you've got the quality that Ahmad has, yeah, Ahmad needs to be in the central part of the pitch, involved. You know what I mean? And again, we can't talk about Ahmad hasn't got the physicality, because he has. You know, Ahmad works hard. So there's no talk about Ahmad not tracking back, etc. Ahmad's very high on quality and is tenacious as well. You know, and again, if people feel that Ahmad, you know, has spent the majority of his career out wide and they see him as a wide player, I can't even disagree with that. I do see that, yeah. But just know that Ahmad is a central player. He's a number 10 by trade, yeah. And the vision for me would be Ahmad playing the 10. I'm not saying Ahmad has to play every game in the 10. There might be games where you might want to play him out wide. But I'm hoping next season, Carrick or a new coach sees the vision for Ahmad as a number 10 and playing him centrally. Because Ahmad's someone that he needs to be on the ball a lot more than he is. Because I don't think it's good when you've got someone like Bruno Fernandes, you know, who is on the ball a lot more than Ahmad. Because Ahmad's technically better than Bruno, you know, and we need to have players that are more technically proficient than a Bruno Fernandes on the ball at most times. That's the truth. And again, guys, you know, I'll touch on this again as well, yeah, because I see something yesterday where this is part of the problem, yeah, because when people watch Sky Sports, yeah, you know, Sky Sports will put these things up like the goals, the stat, the assists, etc. Yeah, and it will look very good on paper, yeah, to see that Bruno Fernandes has got the most assists in the Premier League on 12, and the next person I think might be Ryan Cherky on 7. Yeah, now this is where Sky Sports, you know, and the pundits lie to you, yeah, because as we know already, the way numbers or assists are counted in this era of football is nothing short of a joke, yeah? And let's face it, a lot of the players of the past, yeah, they never really used to get assists like this, yeah? Now, the way assists are counted right now is the last person that passed the ball to them, the last person that played played the ball gets given an assist, yeah? Now, if you look at Bruno Fernandes, for argument's sake, yeah, I've counted this season from open play, he's got 3, maybe 4 assists this season from open play. If we're being generous, 4 assists. So when they're putting on there that is 12 assists, he hasn't technically got 12 assists. You know, if you look at the Joshua Xerxes goal that Xerxes scored against Crystal Palace, yeah, that's not an assist. Bruno just played the ball to Xerxes. He was going away from goal, and it was Xerxes' quality that got that goal, not Bruno's assist. Yeah. If we look at the Benjamin Sesko goal the other day, the Benjamin Sesko goal, obviously Bruno done well to basically outfall Calvin Bassey. But again, Bassey, to be fair, if you're getting done like that by Bruno Fernandes, who has no pace and no strength, you know what I mean? You have to really be looking at yourself, yeah? But let's face it, the ball that Bruno played into to Sesko, he picked him out, but the ball wasn't a ball where Sesko could finish it straight away. Sesko took a touch and then produced a great finish. That's technically not an assist, yeah? That's technically not an assist. So again, that doesn't count. The assist that I rate from Bruno is the one for Brian Mbeumo, because it was a right weight of pass, you know, and it was a good decision making. So again, great assist by Bruno. So again, if we're looking at it, yeah, it was good decision making, good weight of pass, and then obviously, you know, it was in it was good. It was a good finish from Mbeumo, you know, right into his path. You know what I mean? So again, that was an assist. Guys, the reason why I'm pausing, I'm laughing, yeah, is because Fitz, let Henny lock. I think he's on Henny, to be fair. He's probably on the Hennessy as he's speaking, yeah. Listen, when you get people like that, yeah, that want to start throwing in nonsense in the chat, yeah, and want to start, you know, trying to get personal, they've lost the argument, because the facts are, yeah, Henny Lock, you know, and I'm gonna call you out, Henny Lock, yeah. The facts are, yeah, what you said is that because I'm not a mank, yeah, I can't speak on Manchester United, yeah. But the facts are is that you can't disagree with my opinion because you ain't got no footballing education. These are the facts. So what you do is come on there, yeah, and start resorting to nonsense, because the reality is you're probably a guy that's not happy with your own life. That's the facts. Because at the end of the day, if you want to have footballing talk, then you would, if you don't rate what I'm saying about Bruno Fernandes, then have your say. But you're coming on there, you know, you're coming on there angry because the facts are you don't know nothing about football. That's the truth. And then you just resort to just trying to get personal, man. But again, you're not going to stop what I'm saying. That's a fact, you know. And I'll keep saying what I've got to say, whether you like it or not, man. So it's just that simple, man. You know, that's why I'm laughing, because like I'm just going through the chats now, yeah, and you're just getting angry because like you ain't got a clue about my background in football. You don't even know. But you're coming on there saying you're not even a mank. So what are you trying to say? Like, because I'm not mank, I can't talk about football. And now you're saying because you got 8 views. Listen, we all know how YouTube works. You know what I mean? Like, we all know how it works. So you're saying I got 8 views, but you're the clown that's in there watching. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? You found me, not the other way around. But as I said, let's carry on what we're saying. I gave Henny his 2 minutes of fame, but let's move on. So, as I said, I've counted, what, 3 or 4 proper assists from 3 or 4 assists from Bruno Fernandes that I can really say that are assists, you know. And what I want people to be aware of, yeah, is Sky Sports, yeah, take it at face. Don't take it too seriously in terms of what narratives they're trying to push, yeah, because I've watched every Man United game this season, yeah, and as I said to you before, I'm from an era where the kind of assists that are being given right now, I just can't agree with. You know what I mean? I just can't agree with, because, as I said, man, these are not real assists. Let's be honest. You know. Now, guys, let Henny have his say, man. Henny's obviously been rattled. He's been rattled, man. Let him have his say, man. He's not winding me up, man. He's winding himself up. As I said, man, he's coming out of a lot of stuff, man, and he's coming out of a lot of stuff, and it's showing that he rates what I'm doing, man. So that's the main thing. Niche fan says, thing I don't understand is why we kept Xerxes and we never play him. He's our best forward. But Niche fan, again, Joshua Xerxes is someone that fans just don't like. Just don't like him as a player, whether we agree to it or not. They just can't understand the type of player that he is, you know. And there's no part of me that's ever gonna give up on Joshua Zirkzee. Joshua Zirkzee is for me our best forward. He is. I know I like Sesko and what Sesko's proven, but Sesko's not a better footballer than Joshua Zirkzee. And what annoys me is that, and I don't really blame Carrick on this year because Carrick is basically auditioning in for the Man United job, really. So Carrick's really hasn't got the patience, I would say, to give Joshua Zirkzee 5 or 10 games in a row. He's going to have to pick a team that he feels best suited to getting a result. Yeah. But I do believe Carrick does like Xerxes. And I'm just hoping that next season, if it's Carrick or another manager, they see the value in Xerxes and give him more game time. Because there's no part of me that's going to give up on a footballer like Joshua Xerxes. Because we're in an era of football now where it's very much pace and power that these fans look at. And when you've got someone like Xerxes that is highly technical, and he's definitely an asset, yeah, we just need to see him being given, more chances that other players keep continuously getting, And again, this season at the moment, it's a bit difficult. But the fact that he's still here, obviously he's got the World Cup coming up, whether he gets more game time to prove that he, is worthy of a place in the squad. Who knows? But what I would say is there's no part of me that's going to give up on Joshua Zirkzee as long as he's here. And the striker market, as I said, just isn't there. Because if you get rid of Xerxes, what striker realistically can Man United be bringing in to replace Xerxes? And the answer to that, there ain't none. There's not, you know what I mean? But he's our best forward. He's our best number 9, in my opinion. He is. Fitz, don't react to Henny, man. Let Henny talk, man. Let him talk, man. There's no point reacting to guys like that. It's these guys show themselves up, man. Don't even react to him. As I said, man, he's watching me, not the other way around. I'm a Newcastle fan, hoping you don't take Tonali off us. Yeah, listen, my guy, man. Big up to FPS Knicks. Listen, I understand, man, if you're worried about that, because I think a lot of fans think Bruno Guimaraes is the number 1 midfielder for Newcastle. For me, it's Tonali. And Tonali, for me, is someone that should be playing Champions League football regularly. He's he's one of the best midfielders in the league. And I'm hoping, that we can get him. Do I believe it happens? It's unlikely because Newcastle are going to ask for a lot of money. And I think there's other clubs that will be looking at him as well. But if there's a chance that we could get him, then listen, bring him in, man. Bring him in. Yeah, big up, Foxy Danny. Big up. Listen, as I said, man, don't get rattled by people like that, man. I mean, who is he? You know what I mean? So yeah, just going back to Tonali, man. Like as I said, for me, the ideal midfield next summer would be Camavinga, Tonali, but I don't think Camavinga's going to happen. Baleba, Tonali, I think the fact that Tonali might be available, this is why I'm saying that Tonali is someone for me that if there's a chance of getting Tonali, for me, I'm not that worried about Anderson, because Tonali for me is better than Anderson. And as I said, with Wharton and Anderson, you're getting Tonali in one, basically. You know what I mean? So that's how I kind of see it, man. We don't usually win without Bruno, but Tonali has to step up for us, and he has done. Yeah, I agree. I think I see a stat the other day, actually, that when Bruno Guimaraes doesn't play, obviously your win percentage is down. And to be fair, I hear it, because he's obviously your leader. He plays more or less every game as well. But in terms of technically and who's just a better all-round midfielder, I think it's Tonali, man. Tonali's the top player. We should have got Tonali, before he went to AC Milan from Brescia. You know what I mean? We should have got him then. But as I said, unfortunately, man, like Newcastle had the vision to get him from AC Milan, whether he wanted to go there or not. But now, if you was to get Tonali, you're looking at 100 million. I think that's how much he'd possibly go for from Newcastle, you know. But yeah, he's a top player, man. He is. He's a top player. Guys, keep your questions and comments coming in. Let me know what you think of Baleba. Do you think Man United should still be going for Baleba, or do you think that, you know, it's we need to be targeting other midfielders? Let me know what you think about Angelo Stiller as well, because as a footballer, Angelo Stiller is very good, but I think what we need, I think Stiller is someone that we probably need to look at as a third or fourth option for me, you know? Let me know what you think anyway. Brentford and Brighton tomorrow. Aston Villa Leeds. Oh, Villa are playing Leeds tomorrow at 2 p.m. All right, listen, if Villa want to get Champions League football or still be with a chance of the Premier League, and again, Villa got a chance. The fact that Arsenal have drawn their last 2 games against Brentford and Wolves, imagine if Villa, beat Leeds tomorrow, which I think they will. You know, that's 6 points in comparison to Arsenal's 2. So they've clawed back, what, 4 points. And again, I can't remember what the league table's saying, but let me check it now, actually. Because I'm telling you now, like, do I believe Villa win the Premier League? I don't, but don't rule them out, because you'll see very quickly, that, as I said, man, there's a long way to go, man, in the league at the moment. So look at that. So Villa got a game in hand, obviously on Leeds tomorrow, which, to be fair, Leeds have been decent, so it won't be an easy game, but you'd probably expect them to win that at home. And obviously, if they beat Leeds, they're 4 points, off of Arsenal, and obviously Arsenal got the North London derby. So yeah, listen, man, that's going to turn the pressure up again. Obviously, City have got Newcastle, so, you know, you'd expect City to win. If City should win that one, it won't be easy again. But yeah, man, all of a sudden, it's looking interesting, man. So, but yeah, City for me will be they will beat Newcastle. I know Newcastle beat Karabag the other day, but I think City will beat them. Well, look at that. James Milner's he's tied with Gareth Barry. Most appearances in the Premier League. Mad. 653, So he could beat it tomorrow. I mean, and he will do. My Villa bet's not looking bad now. Yeah, I mean, they're at home to to Leeds. I think they'll beat Leeds, Fitz. I think they'll beat them. You know, I think if they're away from home, I think it might be a tough one, tricky one. But yeah, I think they win that tomorrow, man. And then again, there'll be 4 points behind Arsenal, North London derby, and Chelsea coming up. And then just saying, man, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. But guys, listen, we're gonna wrap it up anyway. I might be back tomorrow. I'm not tomorrow. I might be back later tonight. I'm not sure yet. I might do the I don't know if to do a North London derby preview or Man United, obviously Everton preview. I'm not sure yet. Because obviously Man United don't play till Monday, you know, and as I said, it's I think of doing that on Sunday probably. I'm not sure. I'll have a think. But yeah, obviously Man United playing on Monday. Is Arsenal playing? Is Arsenal and Tottenham North London derby? Is that Sunday or is that tomorrow? I think it might be. Is it tomorrow or Sunday? Let me check. Oh, you got Villa to win the league. Okay, that's mad. What's the odds on that one? So Villa Leeds tomorrow. me see. Yeah, Tottenham Arsenal Sunday, 4:30. And Villa have got Wolves next game. Birmingham Derby, away from home. And then Chelsea. Hey, guys, I'm telling you this now, yeah? I'm telling you this now, yeah? You see Aston Villa, yeah? Villa have got Leeds and they've got Wolves in the next 2 games, yeah? If they've got any chance of, having a title challenge, yeah? Their 2 games they have to win. Like, no draws. They have to win both games. At home against Leeds and away to a Birmingham rival in Wolves. If they was to win both them games, yeah, that'll be 9 points. And then Arsenal have got North London Derby and then Chelsea. Let's say Arsenal drop points there and Villa win both of their games. Yeah. So let's see it. So let me go back onto it quickly. So yeah, so let's say Villa win both their games, yeah? That's 59 points. And let's say Arsenal lose one of them games in the North London Derby or against Chelsea or pick up a point. Yeah, let's say that happens because it's not impossible, yeah? Villa and Arsenal will be on the same points. I'm just saying. So if Arsenal don't beat Tottenham, yeah, and they pick up a let's say Tottenham beat Arsenal and they pick up a draw to Chelsea, yeah, and Villa win both their games, Villa and Arsenal are on the same points. And I'm telling you this now, that could be a possibility. 28-1, my God. How much did you put on the bet, Fitz? 28-1, you know. You'll be laughing, man. How much did you put on there? What's the return on that? Because that's mad. Just a fiver, yeah? Okay, so you're not really losing out, really. So what's the other bet then? You got Villa to win the league and what else? What's the other one? United to win it. Okay, I hear it, man. I hear it. It's a mad bet, but what you should have done, yeah, is put a fiver on United to win the league before Arsenal. That's what you should have done, because that's a better bet, man. To be honest with you, you know. But yeah, as I said, guys, Premier League football back tomorrow. Big games. And obviously, yeah, we got the North London Derby Sunday, Man United on Monday. So yeah, I'll be doing some reactions to that. You know, as I said, I might be back later tonight. As always, keep an eye on the notifications to see when I go live. I'm not sure yet, but if not back tonight, then tomorrow I'll probably do a reaction to the Man City Newcastle game. You know, we'll see. But other than that, guys, big up yourselves for coming through. Big up to all the newcomers. Big up to all the mods as usual as well. Guys, make sure you smash the like button on your way out and make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here as well. And guys, check out all the other content. And let me know what you think. Again, I'm doing the greats of the game. One's already come out today. Again, if you guys want to check it out, you know, it's a Real Madrid legend that's come out today. And another one will be coming out, guys, in a couple of hours' time. You know, and this one I'm going to enjoy because he's one of my favourite players, all-time players, you know. And again, another player that doesn't really get the mention he deserves. So, yeah, that will be coming out in about an hour or so time. So, yeah, keep an eye on that. And as I said, catch you all on the next one. Big up yourselves. Take it easy.